Did Buckingham Palace or Prince William set a trap for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, and were they gullible enough to fall into it?
He's had enough. He wants to clean the monarchy, and it's all now in the hands of the courts. Meghan Markle is in full mode panic along with Harry because they both know what they did.
The stories would come out. So apparently, according to other journalists, we found out that there were a lot of porcupines probably told to the royals and even to Harry when they met her. And in order to cover up,
it's actually torture to listen to that woman now, because every other word out of her mouth is a lie. None of it really makes.
Since Prince William just established his position, it cuts directly through Meghan Markle's childbirth narrative, while the Duchess occupied herself with social media content creation at medical facilities, sharing posts for online visibility. An overseas courtroom quietly exposed a legal matter she likely hoped would remain buried forever.
Maybe King Charles didn't want to do anything about it given what's going on with Andrew, but in order for William to save the monarchy, he has to deal with the Archie and Lilibet problem.
A legal battle worth £157 million, involving a surrogate-born noble heir, plus a 4-century-old statute that posed a question the palace has carefully avoided since 20. Were the Sussex offspring born naturally? Because mounting evidence suggests otherwise, and a growing number of observers share this belief. The succession line faces more than minor damage. It confronts a fundamental crisis.
People think her kids are fake. They think they're AI.
I'm going to quote Tom Bauer by saying, he said, look, we all laughed at Samantha and she was right. And everything she said has come true.
Recently, one of Britain's most significant aristocratic legal cases emerged. Yet mainstream coverage of Meghan's controversies barely addressed it adequately.
Something is happening right now in the courts, which is incredibly important, and nobody's paying attention to it because this will make history, and not in a good...
This development spells trouble for Meghan Markle. The Marquess of Bath and his legal representatives appeared before Bristol's High Court, making an extraordinary admission. His 9-year-old son Henry, born via surrogacy in West Hollywood during 2016, may lack legal qualification as a family fortune heir.
Trevor put an article out there that Meghan had a hysterectomy and couldn't have children, and that was a big issue in their relationship. So that says a lot to the fake royal kids right now, because obviously they couldn't have come out of her. So that's something that she obviously is going to have to deal with.
The stakes involve £157 million locked in trusts, using pre-1970 terminology and definitions. Under those historical standards, children not naturally born to mothers simply don't qualify legally.
She had a lot of health issues and she couldn't have one of her children. So they had to use a surrogate in the United States. Why the United States? Because in the United Kingdom, the children, even though through a surrogate, belong to the surrogate.
Judge Mr. Justice Matthews stated it plainly. Uncertainty exists regarding Henry's current status within the beneficiary class, concerning a 9-year-old child, biologically completely legitimate, born to his parents through documented legal surrogacy. Yet Britain's legal system questioned his inheritance rights. Remember this detail as we examine Montecito connections.
The Marquess of Bath was open and transparent about this. So she is right now going through the legal process because as per the Peerage Act of 1963, that child born in the United States from a surrogate is not entitled to anything, inheritance or anything.
This case creates explosive implications for Meghan and Harry. Royal succession operates under identical ancient principles. The born of the body requirement has silently governed British throne succession since 1701's Act of Settlement, spanning 325 years. Every royal heir followed this witnessed, palace-verified protocol without exceptions or alternatives, until Archie's arrival seemingly discarded established procedures.
Who does he take after? Does he look like anyone?
We're still trying to figure that out.
Well, everyone says that babies change so much over 2 weeks. We're basically sort of monitoring how the changing process happens over this next month, really. But his looks are changing every single day.
I don't harbor animosity toward Meghan Markle based on internet opinions. My extended coverage reveals clear patterns. The woman discussing authentic living with Oprah simultaneously deploys legal teams against straightforward pregnancy timeline inquiries. That represents calculated brand protection, not genuine authenticity.
Meghan Markle has been incredibly quiet about the birth, but mostly the pregnancy of these children. Everything has been shady. The one who's been blabbing and saying crazy things is Prince Harry.
The pregnancy situation transcends conspiracy theories. It involves basic questions any bloodline-based family should answer without legal representation. When, where, and how did these births occur? And who provided verification? William's children were born at St. Mary's Hospital, photographed on steps within hours while the entire nation watched. Case closed.
I mean, obviously, when William was born and Harry was born and George and Charlotte and Louis, we got great pictures outside the hospital. I remember, and William and Catherine especially, they made such an effort to show the whole world their new baby.
Meghan's children present complications. When Archie Harrison Mountbatten Windsor arrived at London's Portland Hospital on May 6, 2019, unprecedented circumstances surrounded this significant royal birth. No traditional hospital steps photo opportunity that had occurred for decades.
And then when the baby was born, when Archie was born, that was another, in my view, a disaster because I knew we was not going to get a picture of it. Everybody was hoping we would get pictures of it.
No physician-signed notice, which represented standard protocol for every royal birth in recent memory.
Do you remember Meghan actually refused to use the hospital that was usually used by royals and refused to use all of the normal medical staff? And there was all of the weirdness over the timing of the birth of Archie.
The birth certificate contained details, but many found irregularities. Harry later described in Spare their departure within 2 hours through lift, underground car park and people carrier, returning to Frogmore Cottage before Palace Press Office confirmed Meghan's labor.
We've had Harry on Spare talking about, how Meghan Markle, how complicated it was, how they went to the hospital, how Meghan Markle had to have 2 epidurals. We know all of that is yes. We know all of that is a lie.
For a family maintaining 3 centuries of public royal births for constitutional legitimacy rather than entertainment, this departure from established precedent was deliberately unprecedented. Harry's description mentions electric candles, framed Diana photos, and Ayurvedic doctors advising whispered wishes during the baby's first minute. This resembles lifestyle magazine content, not royal birth documentation. As one observer noted, other royals provide birth announcements while Harry delivered scented candle inventories.
This scandal comes as no surprise. Speculation about the children has been simmering for years.
Lilibet's June 2021 arrival at Santa Barbara Cottage Hospital raised additional concerns. Harry claimed in Spare that he personally delivered the baby, sliding his hands under the tiny back and neck, pulling their daughter into the world. While this father's experience could be beautiful, it creates constitutional complications that Montecito appears uninterested in addressing.
Silence everybody and just produce a DNA sample or proof of delivery. If you had those things, it would be very easy just to put them out there and say, this is what happened. This is what it is.
Unlike every significant royal birth since the early 1700s, neither Archie's nor Lilibet's arrivals received independent palace-appointed official verification. No independent medical witnesses, no traditional Privy Council notification, just Harry's testimony. When your children occupy 6th and 7th throne succession positions, poetic words don't constitute constitutional documentation.
Meghan, a geriatric mother. The family claims and states that Meghan had a hysterectomy. How can a woman with a hysterectomy be pregnant? And most of all, why did the royal family, go along with this? And what's going to happen now that this has come out?
This story's most troubling aspect is why, if Meghan and Harry have nothing to conceal, no straightforward confirmation has been issued in 6 years. Not legal threats or attorney letters, but simple verification statements closing the matter. Why does royal history's simplest question demand its most complex response?
So Prince William knows that the crown cannot keep making the same mistakes in the past, that nobody who is not working royal can...
Prince William, according to well-placed sources, finds these circumstances highly suspicious. One insider told Paula M. that William considers both birth details fishy.
He knows that there is something fishy about Harry and Meghan's kids.
That's significant language for a future king. His actions support this assessment. He systematically distanced the Sussex brand from official monarchy identity, scrubbing website profiles and reviewing titles for commercial exploitation.
At this point in time, King Charles doesn't understand that he cannot continue having Harry and Meghan on the British monarchy's website when they are absolutely trashing the very same institution and using titles for commercial purposes, which is basically repeating the same pattern that Sarah Ferguson has done and even Andrew did.
Someone online perfectly captured this by writing to Meghan about hating royals while using their gifted title. That hypocrisy infuriates people beyond tabloid gossip or conspiracy theories. She simultaneously rejects the institution while exploiting its credentials. You can't criticize the monarchy on Netflix, then sign jam labels as Duchess of Sussex. Choose consistency.
She wants all of the privileges that go along with an identity, but she doesn't want any of the responsibility. She doesn't want to do any of the work. She wants the tiara. She doesn't want the public service.
This returns us to the Marquess of Bath, whose case transformed theoretical concerns into legal reality. The Marquess loves his son, hides nothing, openly acknowledges surrogacy use, and fights in court to protect Henry's rights. That exemplifies proper fatherhood, deserving full respect. But his case accidentally demonstrates that existing British inheritance, trust, and constitutional law doesn't automatically include surrogate-born children.
And the Peerage Act of 1963 clearly states, just like for royalty, that a surrogate cannot be used.
Mr. Justice Matthews confirmed this directly. The Marquess must petition courts to manually add Henry as beneficiary. The law doesn't automatically provide inclusion. Apply this to Crown succession acts. These aren't amendable private trust documents for wealthy families. These are centuries-old constitutional instruments governing British monarchy. If a £150 million estate faces uncertainty about surrogate-born children's legal standing, what challenges face a 1,000-year-old crown?
And William has ordered an open investigation into Lilibet and Archie's birth because he knows that that cannot be hanging over the head of the monarchy, over his reign.
This raises deeply uncomfortable questions. If surrogacy involvement were ever formally established in either Sussex birth, could Parliament be forced to address whether Archie and Lilibet's succession positions are constitutionally valid? The Marquess of Bath case suggests the answer isn't the automatic affirmation Meghan's legal team would prefer.
What we said, everything I said in the beginning was favorable. Nobody printed that. And when I said nothing, they created stories. And it was really just...
Samantha Markle's persistent statement lingers like unclearing smoke. People need to examine the timeline, she said years ago. Initially dismissed as bitter family attacks, with the Marquess of Bath's case now featured in major British newspapers.
But there were so many of them. And why? It would have been so easy to be honest about who she is.
Samantha's observation carries new weight. People now examine laws and precedents beyond timelines. They question whether born of the body, the phrase threatening a 9-year-old's £157 million inheritance, applies equally to 2 children in British throne succession. This transcends gossip into constitutional mathematics.
So all of these lies started coming out, but we didn't know that she had told the royal family so many porcupines. So it makes sense. Oh my God, I've got to keep everybody away because if they start talking, the lies come out.
Montecito's silence reveals what press statements won't. When Samantha first raised these questions, we received not denials or clarifications, but lawyers' cease and desist letters and media outlet threats. Harry, who wrote 416 pages about every embarrassing life detail, including frostbitten body parts, couldn't spare one paragraph addressing surrogate rumors. A man detailing his first intimate experience behind a pub can't identify which doctor witnessed his children's births? As one critic observed, Harry writes about everything except truly important matters.
In this case, about whether you think the birth was real, whether you think there was a surrogate, whether you think Meghan was wearing a moon bump, the fact is, Harry and Meghan lied. Buckingham Palace lied on their behalf. There was a complete cover-up over the birth of Prince Archie.
Here's my conclusion. Prince William didn't create this problem but inherited it like the crown itself. From all evidence, he's not ignoring it but quietly building a monarchy without question marks, replacing birth certificates. The Marquess of Bath fights for his son in open court with full transparency and accountability. Harry and Meghan operate through shadowy lawyers and legal threats instead of simple answers. One family demonstrates transparency while the other shows damage control. My audience, who witnessed Diana's wedding, mourned at her funeral, and celebrated William and Catherine's balcony appearance, recognizes the difference. They've observed this family longer than Meghan has pretended membership. A bloodline-based monarchy survives scandal, divorce, and princes writing tell-all books about frostbitten extremities. But it cannot survive doubt about who was actually born to wear the crown. Currently, doubt is the only thing Meghan and Harry consistently produce. If you followed this story from the beginning, you know deeper investigation reveals increasing strangeness. The next video will connect dots I didn't anticipate when beginning this research. Subscribe now if you haven't already, because when that releases, you'll need context. This video provides that foundation.